Hi, my name is Shadows Mist. I am the artist and creator of Shifters. I thought since I've been writing and people haven't been reading my blogs per se, I would try this whole video blog thing and see how that worked and see if, now that you can actually see me and hear me, how that would work for communication. There's a couple of things I'd like to say in this particular entry. If you're seeing it, you've probably seen that I've updated. Yay! So there you go. You have a page, finally. I know that it took a long time, and I really appreciate everybody who was encouraging and who's patient and who understood that I have a life and that I was going through a lot. If you didn't read the past blogs, you may not know that I bought a house in late July. I moved in the beginning of August. And buying a house is an incredibly stressful thing. It is as stressful as a parent dying. They say, all the scientific experts say it anyway, and I will say it is an incredibly stressful experience that I don't relish doing, although it was worth it in the end. Yes, I have a new studio, if you want to call it that. It is my closet. You can see it here, and I have just, sort of recently gotten to the point now where I can actually find all my stuff in order to work and actually do what I need to do. So finally, hopefully things will start moving again. Now there's a couple of things that I want to address, and the first thing is actually related to the whole support thing and everything else, is that, some of you were incredibly supportive, and I thank you very much for that. Some people were less so. And I have a bit of a beef with that. I have seen it before. I've seen it many times, having been on the web for a long time, and as an artist on the web for a long time, is that, especially webcomic artists, that sometimes people can become a little demanding when it comes to updates, when it comes to your art, posting it in a timely manner. I know that some people feel that webcomics should update on time, that they should be, every time on time, like clockwork, which is fabulous if you have the time. But not everybody does this as a profession. I have a full-time job that I actually work in order to live. I make practically no money off of Shifters. The money that I've gotten in donations pays for the server, pays for the bandwidth, pays for the domain, but that's about it. I do not make any grand amounts of money. There have been a few times where I have made a little bit of extra. Somebody was particularly generous, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I've used that money to go, when I'm going to cons and stuff, to talk and to give workshops and whatever, which I have. And recently I went to SakuraCon back in March, and I think it was March. And then I went to Anime Evolution in August with the Creation Station. I did 5 workshops there, which were well attended and well received, and I think everybody had a pretty good time. But they are time consuming to do, and when I have to travel to somewhere like if I have to go down to the US or whatever, because I am in Canada, if you don't know that, on the West Coast, so I'm far away from most of the major big conventions, and I have to pay out of my own pocket in order to get there, generally speaking, and it costs me quite a lot of money, hundreds if not thousands of dollars sometimes. When I went down to San Diego Con, and I have been there, it cost me almost $2,000, and that was pretty expensive. But what I mostly am concerned with are the folks who feel it necessary to swear at an artist who is not updating for whatever reason. Now, when I moved, I did have a lot of technical problems, I should say, technical difficulties, and I found that my local cable company was being very uncooperative regarding giving me internet back. And it's not necessarily they were uncooperative, it's that their technicians, they came out, they couldn't figure out the problem, they'd go away, the problem wouldn't be solved, they'd have to be on the phone again, they'd have to come out again, and this was ongoing until about the end of the month. By the time we actually got internet that worked, that wasn't completely flaky, I was back at my regular job and really didn't have any free time. So I really couldn't do a lot back. I tried to do sketches and tried to get some stuff done, but it just was not happening. My tablet is also suffering. I guess it got somewhat damaged in the move. The cord that attaches to the computer actually has gotten really, really flaky. I have to hold it in a very particular manner before it, otherwise it'll disconnect. So I've been working through that, and I do most of my work purely digitally now instead of on the paper, and people might ask me, well, why do you do that? Well, it looks better. Plain and simple. I'm trying to do stuff that's high res, that's going to be used for printing. So the stuff that I'm putting out is a lot higher quality than a lot of other people might doing a webcomic. So just bear that in mind. Now, to those who are out there, I'm going to give you a bit of a clue. Those people who are, not necessarily as supportive and who felt the need to swear at me or call me names or whatever. I was on the receiving end of some pretty nasty emails, guest book entries, live journal comments, whatever. I mean, they weren't like really, really bad, but it's basically like, update, you fucking bitch, this comic sucks because it doesn't update, or this comic rocks because it's too slow, you update, fuck you, you bitch, you don't update enough. That's more the kind I'm talking about, is the ones where, it's like, F you, because you don't update. Or calling you names because you don't update or whatever. And it's obvious that you like what I'm doing, and, calling my, freaking out to update and then calling me names or saying that my comic sucks or whatever doesn't really hold up, because you're kind of upset because it's not updating, which kind of would suggest to me that you actually like what you're reading. So it's not really worth it. And you can pretty much call me any name in the book, and I've probably been called that before, or I've called myself it, and probably some that you may not have even thought up. I had some very colorfully names flung at me from my siblings every now and again, and I don't think most people could, compare to certain other people that I know for foul mouths. So, really not particularly intimidating, and really not particularly motivating is probably something that you may want to think about, is that swearing at people does not motivate them to do nice things for you, like post more art. That is something that takes a lot of time to do and a lot of effort. No. So next time you want somebody to post some art that who may be having some troubles and may not be able to update or whatever, if you want a faster update, put your money where your mouth is instead of mouthing off. Maybe if you comment positively, or if you get involved in the forums, or if you send a positively email of some kind, maybe that'll be more motivating than saying, hey, fuck you, you're a bitch. Not particularly making me want to do anything nice for you. The second thing I wanted to address was Shifter's Redux. A lot of people keep asking questions regarding the story where it transitions from the old version, The Beast Within, to the Redux version. They're saying, is there a time gap? Is there, are you going to go back to any of the characters? Blah, blah, blah. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a whole little video log, aside from this one, on exactly what I have done. But I will tell you this much in this particular one, is that it is not a continuation of the old one. It is a complete redo. I will explain exactly what I have redone in the other version of this blog, but don't think when you're reading through that first crappy version, well, it's not like crappy, it's my learning piece, but the first version where it ends, that is where that one ends. We are going all the way back, actually a little bit before the original one began, and that's where Redux starts. I will explain why and everything in the other video, so if you want to watch the other video, go right ahead, and that will explain everything to you if you don't understand what's going on in Shifters, and I'll explain what happened and what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. And hopefully that'll, make it really, really clear, so I'm not constantly getting these questions about these things. But anyway, so hopefully this was an interesting way of interacting with me and actually getting a blog out of me, and I hope I don't sound too retarded. But anyway, so see you next update.